Guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being a music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest by Nickelback, and that's Feed the Machine. I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. So well, would you look who's finally come back. And I've always had a soft spot for Nickelback, and I think they are actually pretty darn good musicians, but like many others and how the general consensus seems to be on the group, I have a problem with their approach to making music and the eventual product they end up churning out, aka their albums on a whole. They are a great hard rock band who write great hard rock riffs and solos, but we only hear it for a quarter of each album. My favourite album by them has to be Dark Horse, which was probably the only album which really had the gritty stuff to it throughout the majority of the album, so fingers crossed that this track is actually decent and it leads to better songs along the line on the upcoming album I imagine it's going to be. Well, you know what? I was actually smiling and laughing by the end of this track because finally Nickelback have made the track I've been waiting for them to make ever since they started up way back when. Although they will be the subject of many gent jokes from here on out, they actually really suit this style. It's bold, it's powerful, it's punchy, and it's actually got some balls to it as well, some real drive and punchiness to it. However, I feel like they shouldn't get too ahead of myself with this track as they've done this many times before with the likes of Burn It to the Ground and Something in Your Mouth. I just don't want this to be a single that suggests the new album is going to be heavy and then wade into it only to find a whole load more of like cheesy rock ballads with like acoustic guitars and all that sort of nonsense which really doesn't suit them. Production wise, there are some issues with this track which aren't glaring or irritating or anything like that, just rather little tweaks which I think they should think about going into the rest of the album if they haven't already. For one, I think the bass swamps the guitar just a touch, with it being far more wholesome and causing the distortion to sound a little thin and wispy, a bit like sort of backing noise around the edge of the stereo field, which I'm not a big fan of. I didn't like a lot of the digital manipulation, and that's more of a personal preference thing after listening to tons of crappy gent bands in the past ruin the idea for me in the first place. I also thought the solo perhaps had a little too much wah on it, but I'm really nitpicking there. But other than that, the drums actually sound fantastic and frenetic, really adding impact into the transitions and anthemic sequences. The vocals also sound great, keeping Chad's natural husky tone and really allowing him to dominate the mix. It's a patchwork job, but it's more than good enough for this genre. When it comes to the musicality of this track, I enjoyed the riffs, I enjoyed the notes being played in the guitar solo, I enjoyed the hook, and everything just worked well to create a fun, mindless rock set piece, aka everything I was looking for in this track. I do think at times they were a little over-reliant on the original riff, repeating it far more than was necessary. In my personal opinion, it dragged towards the end, and it was just played too many times. It kind of lost its impact, but it didn't really bother me all too much. I thought Chad put in an excellent vocal performance, but what is crucial for me is that him and Ryan finally let loose on the guitars and explored some more complex areas. They're actually a couple of pretty darn good musicians and guitarists at that as well. And why it's taken them so long to really get out of their shell, I'll never know. I've been wanting them to do this for ages, to explore something heavier outside of the conventional 4/4 time signature and actually sort of extend their riffs, extend where they're going for, be more exploratory, and they can do that, and I've seen them be able to do that in videos and all sorts of great stuff like that, and now we're actually finally beginning to hear that. Now they might, like I said, I'm not getting too ahead of myself, they might take that away in the rest of the album, but hopefully this is a step in the right direction. The song form is typical of this type of track, and the structure in general is predictable, yet it really doesn't take away from the experience. So yeah, the musicality is pretty good here. Lyrically, the track is cheesy and uses a theme that has been recycled hundreds and hundreds of times in many different ways at this point, but it was still good fun to hear Chad piping out those notes once again, and it works syllabically and functionally anyway, so I wasn't too fussed about it all. All in all, a pretty good track and certainly an enjoyable one. I wouldn't take it too seriously and instead look at it as if it was like a classic rock track, just some quick and memorable fun. So G rating I gave for this one was 7 out of 10, which is actually well above average, more than I was expecting going into this track. So if you like this video then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye bye.